If you're a Canadian senior living on CPP and OAS in 2026, here is something that might stop you in your tracks. The average monthly income from those two pensions combined is roughly $1,650, and the average cost of living for a single person in Canada right now, including rent, is between $3,300 and $3,800 a month. That gap is not a small one. And millions of Canadians are quietly trying to bridge it every single month without a clear plan for how to do it. Today's video is about how to budget on a fixed income in Canada, specifically for retirees whose main income is CPP and OAS. We're going to talk about how to stretch every dollar of your Canada pension plan and old age security, which government benefits you may be leaving on the table, where to find real savings on groceries, medications, and housing, and a handful of lesser-known programs that could genuinely change your monthly cash flow. Whether you're already retired or getting close, this is the kind of practical information that can make a real difference in your daily life. And I want to flag something early. We'll be talking later about a situation that catches a lot of seniors completely off guard. It involves the Guaranteed Income Supplement, or GIS, and a very common financial move that seems smart at first, but can actually reduce your monthly income. We'll get to that shortly, so stay with me. Let's start with the income picture itself because it's important to be realistic about what CPP and OAS actually pay most people, not the maximum numbers you sometimes see quoted, but what the average senior actually receives. The maximum CPP at age 65 in 2026 is just over $1,500 a month. But to qualify for that maximum, you'd have to have contributed at the highest possible level for nearly 40 years. Most Canadians don't hit that. The average new CPP recipient in 2026 receives closer to $800 a month. Add in the OAS payment, just over $740 for seniors aged 65 to 74, and you're looking at roughly $1,500 to $1,600 a month for the average person. That is the starting point for a lot of retirement budgets across this country. Now, here's a piece of good news that sometimes gets overlooked. If you are 75 or older, your OAS automatically increases by 10%. You don't have to apply for it. It just happens. So instead of about $743 a month, seniors 75 and over receive over $817. It doesn't sound like a massive change, but over a year, that's nearly $900 extra dollars, and it's permanent and inflation adjusted. If you're approaching 75 or you have a parent or loved one who already is, make sure they know this increase is coming or already in place. Both CPP and OAS are adjusted for inflation every year. CPP adjusts every January, and OAS adjusts every quarter: January, April, July, and October. The good news about OAS in particular is that it can go up, but it can never go down. Even if inflation temporarily dips, your OAS stays the same. That's a small but real protection when you're budgeting month to month. So where does that leave us? For a single senior receiving average CPP and full OAS, monthly income is around $1,500 to $1,600. The question is, how do you live a dignified, comfortable life on that? The answer is you learn the system. And that starts with understanding what else you may qualify for. The most powerful add-on benefit for lower-income seniors is the Guaranteed Income Supplement, the GIS. If your income outside of OAS is below a certain level, GIS provides a monthly top-up that can be over $1,100 for a single senior. That's non-taxable money. It doesn't show up on your tax return, it doesn't trigger any clawbacks, and when you add GIS to CPP and OAS together, the combined monthly income for a low-income single senior can reach roughly $2,700. That's a significantly more livable number. But here's the thing about GIS that many people miss, and this is the open loop I mentioned at the start. GIS is extremely sensitive to your other income. For every dollar you receive from sources like an RRIF withdrawal or investment income, your GIS can be reduced by 50 cents. That might not sound dramatic, but it adds up fast. And there's a specific scenario that catches people completely off guard. Imagine a senior who owns her home. She decides to downsize, sell the house, bank the proceeds, maybe move somewhere smaller and easier to manage. On the surface, that sounds financially smart, but here's what can happen. The family home itself doesn't count as income for GIS purposes. The minute that home is sold, however, and the money goes into savings or investments, those investments start generating returns, and that investment income counts against GIS. So a senior who sold her home to free up equity can actually find herself receiving less in GIS benefits than she did before she had more money, more assets, less monthly income. It's a real and painful paradox, and it's one worth knowing about before you make that decision. This doesn't mean downsizing is always the wrong call. It means the financial picture is more complex than it appears, and it's worth talking through with someone before you act. Now let's get practical. What can you actually do to stretch a fixed income further? Let's start with groceries because food costs have gone up significantly, anywhere from 4 to 6% in 2026 alone. The single best habit a senior on a fixed income can develop is shopping on senior discount days. These are real, meaningful savings available at major Canadian retailers every single week. Shoppers Drug Mart offers 20% off for seniors every Thursday when you use a PC Optimum card. Rexall does the same on Tuesdays for seniors 55, end up with a Be Well card. Value Village, which sells far more than just clothing, offers up to 30% off on Tuesdays for shoppers 60 and older. Some Sobeys and Freshco locations offer senior discounts on the first Wednesday of the month, and Giant Tiger does the same on the first Monday. If you're currently shopping on random days without a plan, shifting your schedule to match these discount days could save you hundreds of dollars a year with no coupons, no apps, and no effort beyond knowing the day. For fresh produce, look into programs like the Good Food Box, which operates in Calgary and various Ontario communities. For about $30 to $35, you receive 15 to 25 pounds of fresh fruits and vegetables, far below what you'd pay at retail. It's not glamorous, but it's real value. And if mobility is a challenge, programs like Meals on Wheels deliver affordable, nutritious meals directly to your door. These services exist across the country and are specifically designed for seniors who need support staying nourished at home. Let's talk about housing, because for most seniors, that's the largest single cost and the one with the least flexibility. If you own your home, property taxes can be a significant cash flow burden, even when the home is fully paid off. Here's something many homeowners don't know. Several provinces allow seniors to defer their property taxes. That means instead of paying the tax bill each year, you allow it to accumulate against the equity in your home, and it's paid when the house is eventually sold. It's effectively a low-interest loan from the government secured by your home. British Columbia and Alberta both have formal programs for this. Ontario has regional programs as well. If property taxes are eating into your monthly budget, it is worth looking into whether your province offers deferral, because aging in your own home is almost always less expensive than the alternatives. For seniors who rent, the picture is harder. Rent geared to income housing, where your rent is capped at 30% of your monthly income, exists in most provinces, but the wait lists are genuinely long. In Toronto, the wait for a senior-sized unit can stretch 10 to 14 years. In New Brunswick, wait lists hit record highs in 2026. This isn't meant to discourage you. It means that if subsidized housing might be in your future, the time to get on the list is now, not when you're in crisis. Getting your name in the system early costs nothing. Now let's talk about medications, because this is an area where provincial differences really matter and where many seniors are overpaying simply because they don't know what their province covers. In Ontario, the Ontario Drug Benefit Program covers prescription medications for seniors 65 and over. If your income is below roughly $25,000 as a single senior, you pay no deductible and only $2 per prescription. Even at higher income levels, the out-of-pocket cost per prescription is capped at just over $6. In Alberta, the coverage for seniors program is premium-free and covers 30% of most drug costs, capped at $35 per prescription. Alberta also covers up to $2,400 per year for diabetes supplies at no charge, a detail that many diabetic seniors in that province are genuinely unaware of. British Columbia's program is income-based rather than age-based, which means some seniors with even modest incomes end up paying more than they might expect. Knowing your provincial program and making sure you're enrolled is simple, but worth verifying. Here's a story that puts all of this together. Meet a woman named Sylvia. She's 71, lives alone in a mid-sized Ontario city, and receives average CPP and full OAS. Her income is about $1,600 a month. For years, she managed by cutting corners on food, skipping prescriptions when money was tight, and slowly depleting a small savings account. Then, a neighbor told her about GIS. It took one phone call to Service Canada and one tax filing to set it up. Almost overnight, Sylvia's monthly income went from $1,600 to over $2,600. She enrolled in the Ontario Drug Benefit Program, and her medication costs dropped to almost nothing. She started shopping at Shoppers on Thursdays and joined a Good Food Box program through her community center. None of these things required a financial advisor or a major life change. They just required knowing what was available. Sylvia's story is not unusual. There are seniors across this country who are quietly struggling when they don't have to be, simply because the system is complex and nobody handed them a map. Let's talk about taxes for a moment. Not to make this complicated, but because there are a few credits that many seniors simply don't claim, and they're leaving real money on the table. If you are 65 or older and your income is below roughly $45,000, you can claim what's called the age amount, a federal tax credit worth over $9,000 in deductions. You can also claim the pension income amount on the first $2,000 of eligible pension income. That's a credit that effectively makes that portion of your income tax-free. If you have a disability or significant health impairment, the disability tax credit can be worth nearly $10,000. And if you've made modifications to your home for accessibility, a ramp, a walk-in tub, grab bars, the home accessibility tax credit allows you to claim up to $10,000 in eligible renovation costs. These credits don't require complicated tax strategies. They just require knowing they exist and making sure your return includes them. For couples, pension splitting is another tool worth knowing. If one spouse has significantly more pension income than the other, you can transfer up to half of that eligible income to the lower-earning spouse for tax purposes. This can reduce your combined tax bill and, importantly, help both of you stay below the income thresholds that affect OAS and GIS. Speaking of which, if you ever need a large lump sum for a car repair, a medical expense, a home fix, consider using your TFSA instead of withdrawing from an RRSP or RIF. TFSA withdrawals don't count as income. They don't affect your GIS. They don't trigger any OAS clawback. In retirement, your TFSA is genuinely one of the most powerful tools you have for protecting your government benefits. One last thing before we wrap up. There are free resources available to seniors that go well beyond financial benefits. Public libraries in Canada, and this often surprises people, have become one of the best free resources for seniors in 2026. They offer one-on-one help with computers and smartphones, which matters because so many government services are now digital. Many libraries also host free tax filing clinics through the Community Volunteer Income Tax Program, where volunteers file your simple tax return at no charge. If you haven't had your taxes filed professionally and you have a straightforward return, this service could save you money and make sure you're getting every credit you're entitled to. The YMCA and YWCA in many cities offer senior memberships with reduced or waived fees, including fitness programs, fall prevention classes, and social programs specifically designed to reduce isolation, which matters more for health than most people realize. Let's bring everything together. Living on CPP and OAS in 2026 is a real financial challenge. The numbers are tight, and the costs of essentials keep climbing. But the system has more support built into it than most seniors know about. GIS can add over $1,100 a month for qualifying seniors. Senior discount days at major retailers can save hundreds a year on groceries and household items. Property tax deferral programs can ease cash flow for homeowners. Provincial drug programs can dramatically reduce medication costs. Tax credits for age, pension income, disability, and home accessibility can reduce what you owe at filing time. And community resources, libraries, meal programs, food boxes, wellness programs can replace a meaningful amount of discretionary spending. The seniors who navigate retirement most successfully are not necessarily the ones with the most money. They're the ones who learn the system and use it. That's what this channel is here to help you do. If today's video gave you something useful, a number to call, a program to look into, a strategy to consider, please share it with someone you know who might need it. And if you'd like to keep receiving clear, practical information about retirement income, benefits, and budgeting for Canadian seniors, we'd be glad to have you stay with us. There's a lot more to cover. You've earned every dollar of those pensions. Let's make sure every dollar goes as far as it possibly can.